Hey guys, this is the XRP Cowboy. Hey, this is Billy. This is the scientific investor. I think he's really good at reading charts, but the problem is charts are about human emotions, and fundamentals are about what the company's doing, or what they're going to be doing. Or maybe just, I would even throw market conditions into fundamentals. I look at fundamentals as something that could move the price without a TNA perspective, meaning human emotions that are following a line or angles or geometry, really. But more than just that. But the thing is they're following human emotions. So we look at the past to see what's going to happen in the future, and the probabilities based on the amount of emotions are being placed mathematically in a logical pattern, really. So we do that. But the problem is when you're a TNA guy, you're very technical. And sometimes you forget about what makes the charts, and that's human emotions. So something big can happen, or a black swan event, or something extremely impacting to the price of something, just anything in general. And those emotions can change. I mean, think about somebody calls you a jerk, but instead of that, they fucking look at you and just smack your fucking old lady, that your emotions are going to be much different. They're not going to make sense. So that's the problem with TNA. And then you have market conditions. And I wouldn't say fundamentals are like the general market condition, not some crazy shit like war happening or anything like that. But you have to marry them. It's the only way. Because the fundamentals will impact the emotions of someone buying, even though charts, TNA, tits and ass are generally the most accurate way of reading price prediction. You got companies that aren't profitable and they won't be in the foreseeable future, but they're trading 100 to 1 times earnings. And then you have something that's solid and continuously making profits and growing, but they're paying dividends and their price is only moving, if you're lucky, 6 or 7% a year. It's interesting, but I think this is lately. Scientific investor has been very bullish, like he's short of the market. So emotionally, that would be a big deal. And emotions are a bitch because sometimes you can see things in a way that they're not. Think about love. Think about sports betting. Any second, a team's getting destroyed, they're going to come back 3 touchdowns. Okay, I think the last 20 seconds of the last Lions game when they got knocked out of the playoffs, I still thought they could fucking win with onside kicks. I mean, it's crazy, right? But anyways, I'm going to give my perspective on this. And I could be wrong, but I did say ETH was going to go to shit. And when the lawsuit happened, a lot of money that was in XRP went into ETH, and now we're getting the reversal. I said that. I also said Tether was going to go down, but it doesn't look like it's going to, but I did. Because I'm a fucking hold on. I'm kidding. No, I'm not surprised by this ETH activity. Let's do this.
Based on a benchmark, yeah? So last time you got the MACD crossing back to the upside while the RSI was showing you the bullish divergence. The total number of days taken after the bullish divergence was confirmed to the actual pump was 60 days. So it literally took another 2 months of choppiness in that region before it popped. Now, do you have the patience? That's one. Do you have the discipline to accumulate those assets? That's 2. Now,
Yes, I do.
just like Bitcoin, Ether also
I don't know
followed
if
the
I
same
have the
system.
time, though.
If you had that patience to wait for 2 months, the next 30 days gave you all the ROI which you really wanted. Now, we saw XRP is not showing you that, whereas Ether is showing you. Now, we want to compare it with a benchmark. So, I'm taking it into Bitcoin. So, Ether to Bitcoin. You look at the strength, and you're like, whoa, last 7 years, this is the most oversold region. Now, it doesn't mean it's about to reverse the next day, it means at one point
day
sellers
is soon.
are going to go out. Now, when the macro trend is to the upside,
I think that
you know
already
what's happening
happened.
when you enter the overbought territory. But when you go against that trend, when you enter here, that's a reversal structure where it shows you're very close. Fine. Now XRP to the same one, which is Ether. Last one was Ether to Bitcoin. This
Best performing chart. I always said the bull market is not here. This has been price correction, and I believe we're seeing that right now. Right now, the market thinks, given this moment, that XRP's price should be over $2. And 6 months ago, it was saying maybe 50 to 60 cents. Everything else is back down to the November prices, except for the things that really needed a price correction. HBAR, for instance. It's just logic and fact. That's why the prices are what they are. So if we went back to November and that 60 cent XRP, or 55 cent, we should say, before the election, before the Trump pump, changing lives for the better. That's what we're doing here. Changing lives for the better. But you go back to that would mean XRP would be $2.09 or something. But then it like 5x to like $3.30 from the price it was. So now if we're back to November and we're at that 55 cent XRP, only it's over $2. If we 5x from here, we have $10. You see this logic now? You can do the same with HBAR. Listen, this guy, he said the market was going to drop, and he was saying it, and if people sold then and bought back now, I think they did really well. But markets always correct. Generally, a pump corrects 50%, and we pretty much have, at the lows. So it's just normal for this to happen. Like, I'm buying Flare, and when it popped 50% the other day, I wanted to buy more, but I waited because I thought it'd correct 50% of the pump. And I got it at like a penny, 0.043 today. And I actually think I could get it at an even better price than that. But it's close. It's around that 0.014. And I haven't done the math, but that's the feel I have. And watching the market and the movement, that it feels good doing it here, and then maybe a little lower. Unless XRP jumps 10% and it only moves 5%, then I might buy a little more, because I'll sell a little XRP for that. But we got $10. Please don't look past this. Right now, we're in the position we were in November with a 50 to 60 cent XRP, but it's now $2 to $2.20. What's it going to do when we get another pop? Listen to this.
XRP to Ether. Now, if Ether is showing you I'm about to reverse, XRP need to at least hold on to Ether without dropping, so that XRP can also appreciate. Now, what you watch on a daily chart for XRP to Ether is this, a rising wedge. It is not favorable. You go on a 3-day, your negative divergence is valid and it's getting extended. Now, what's the trouble? You see this trend line formation in here? That does not sound good. Meaning, if you break that thing to the downside, the pain, the pressure which will come into the market is going to be bigger. We saw these before. Like, you stand there, you hold it, and then all of a sudden when you break it, you come back down. So is that what we are going to watch? That is the serious question which you will have to ask to yourself, because if you're holding on to that asset, it would have been much better just to hold on to gold, I mean, it's a hedge, not an investment, but right now it's performing just like we talked about last time. Remember, we told you when the weekly hits 80 plus in the RSI, when the monthly hits 85 plus in RSI, you're going to see something big. And watch what's happening in this. Everyone was screaming it's overbought, but watch. Now the quarterly is reaching 85. Once you enter those territory, any dip is a micro dip to buy that. Then it keeps going up, 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 up. Now you're reaching into a bubble territory in gold. Central bankers, they are piling up, they're buying it. So when you're in the market, understand this is not going to go against you if you play with the market's capital flow. When the market capital is showing you it's flowing into one direction, just don't go against it. When it says I'm slowing down to one direction, at least stop and you break it below.
I fucked up.
That's not good.
I don't even know what he just said.
Because understand,
This is
Ether, on the
important.
other hand, is saying, I'm getting some amount
Actually,
of
I probably
bias.
said
I'm
everything important.
trying
You can
to
shut this video off.
pull this off.
Okay, so
Maybe
here's the thing. Let
it's
me
gonna
break
play
it
out.
down for you.
Now, how will you compare between them? How will you look at Ether? How will you look
This
at
is where I
XRP or
disagree.
compare
See how
them
much
based
you
on a
look-
benchmark? Yeah?
Ether
So, last
and
time you
XRP
got
look
the
similar, but Ether kept going down.
MACD crossing back to the upside while the RSI was showing you the bullish
He's saying it
divergence.
bottomed.
The total number of days taken after the bullish
I
divergence
mean, if it
was
didn't, what the
confirmed
fuck?
to
I made a
the actual
video
pump was 60 days.
about this happening.
So it literally took another 2 months of choppiness in that region before it popped. Now, do you have the patience? That's
And
one.
decoupling of
Do you have the
ETH
discipline to accumulate those
XRP.
assets? That's two.
They're
Now,
going opposite ways, not the
just
same
like
way.
Bitcoin, Ether also followed the same system. In the next, if you had that patience to wait for 2 months, the next 30 days gave you all the ROI which you really wanted. Now, we saw XRP is not showing you that, whereas Ether is
Best
showing.
chart in crypto.
Now we want to compare it with a benchmark. So I'm taking it into Bitcoin. So Ether to Bitcoin. You look
Yes,
at the
okay.
strength. And you're like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Last 7 years, this is the most oversold region. Now, it doesn't mean it's about to reverse the next day. It means at one point, sellers are going to go out. Now, when the macro trend is to the upside, you know what's happening when you enter the overbought territory. But when you go against that trend, when you enter here, that's a reversal structure where it shows you're very close. Fine. Now XRP to the same one, which is Ether.
I mean, it
Last
just
one was
looks
Ether
really
to
good.
Bitcoin. This is XRP to Ether. Now, if Ether is showing you I'm about to reverse, XRP need to at least hold on to Ether without dropping so that XRP can also appreciate. Now, what do you watch on a daily chart
Maybe
for XRP
ETH
to
needs to
Ether
worry about what XRP
this,
is doing.
A rising wedge. It is not favorable. You go on a 3-day, your negative divergence is valid and it's getting extended. Now, what's the trouble? You see this trend line formation in here? That does not sound good. Meaning, if you break that thing to the downside,
This community is
pain, the
waiting
pressure which will come into the market
for
is
news.
going to be
Important
bigger.
news.
We saw these
And
before.
when it comes
like,
out, that
you
line won't
stand
mean
there,
anything.
you hold it, and then all of a sudden, when you break it,
God candle.
you come back down. So, is that what we are going to watch?
This case
That
needs
is
to be
the serious
completely
question
over
which
for
you
the
will
big
have
banks.
to ask to yourself.
Big
because
money.
If you're holding on to
And
that
an
asset,
ETF.
it would have been much better just to hold on to gold. I mean, it's a hedge, not an investment, but right now it's performing just like we talked about.
Okay, it may have been another video, but he was pretty much stating that he was showing the chart of Bitcoin dropping and then ETH being a continuation pattern from there in this video. And then he did the same with XRP. But the implication to me was, and I could be wrong, you know, let me know, man, scientific investor, if I am. But it looked like you were implying to me over the last month that we're going to follow ETH. You didn't say that, but that was the reference of direction that we were going to see Bitcoin and XRP go. But that would imply that it's following it, because that's what would happen. And I would argue that my perspective is it's an interest perspective, meaning you've got some, Bitcoin doing a certain thing to a certain level because of the interest is high there, and that's why it doesn't have that continuation pattern all the way down that ETH has, as well as XRP. And the less of the two is XRP. It doesn't show the same pattern, a extension of the ETH. Bitcoin's is a little more than XRP's, but I also know that XRP is the best performer this year, and it has the most shit going on, as far as news and optimism and ambition. And we won a case that against the government that we shouldn't have won. No one beats the government, but yeah. And we have, the executive branch supporting this. We're not going into a fucking bear market when you have all this good fucking sunshine warming our bodies, when we're laying out with cocoa butter on our skin in the sun and it's shining bright. I mean, it's beautiful. We talk about the moon, but fuck, the sun. You are the sun to me. But my point is simple. No. It's a measurement of interest, not I want to say inadequate. Not measurement of following the least interesting coin by two other coins that are significantly more interesting. I mean, it didn't even move with the ETF. You guys, the show is over. Close the storybook. There will be no encore. And all the hands that I have shook, yeah, they're slowly moving to the door. I watch them walk as they move single file. You stood there patient all the while, and I know I can be colorful, and I know I can be gray. You guys, like, subscribe. I love new followers. Give me your opinion.